If there is one truth about me, it is that I am always on the go. I absolutely love adventuring, from mountains to oceans, lakes, and rivers. I want to see as much of the world as I possibly can while I can, which means I often find myself far from electricity, but never without my Mophie. Their range of portable chargers makes sure I never miss capturing a moment that becomes a lifelong memory I want to return to when the adventure is in the past. They have everything from lightweight chargers I don't even notice in my pack to durable power stations that keep me charged up throughout an entire day of working on my devices. Visit Mophie.com to find the perfect solution to keep you powered up for everything you need. Hello, friends, and welcome to the PowHERful Podcast. I'm your host, AJ McCord. In this podcast, we introduce you to powerful women who are changing the game in and outside of their field of play. These are women's stories, women who happen to be doing things that many of us can only dream of, but the lessons and inspiration they share is universal. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the PowHERful Podcast. I'm your host, AJ McCord, and this week we have a true trailblazer, and not just because she's one of the best mountain bikers in the entire world, but she has truthfully led the way for some of the massive breakthroughs we have seen in female mountain biking in the last few years. But that trailblazing did not come without a cost. Jess Blewitt has dealt with maybe more than her fair share of injuries. And in this episode, we talk about her why. We talk about how to pick yourself back up, how to lean into every single phase of the recovery process so that when you come back, you're not just healed physically, you're healed mentally. This episode was really incredible to just hear about this woman's resilience, to learn from it, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear it. This episode of the PowHERful Podcast is brought to you by Mophie. So welcome back to the PowHERful Podcast. I am so excited to have one of the trailblazers, literally, in mountain biking, be joining us for this episode. Jess Blewitt, originally from Queenstown, New Zealand, but travels all over the world. In 2022, she made history as the very first female entrant into Red Bull Hardline. You will find her on a bike, but she used to ski on mountains. Jess, I am so excited to get to know you and a little bit more of your story. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So exciting. Okay, so I want to start first with, how did we go from ski racing to mountain biking? How did we find this transition of sports?
Yeah, well, so I obviously grew up in Mount Maunganui, so New Zealand. And at first we were, I guess, ski racing, like my whole family. My brother and I were both ski racing. And we used to do winters in Queenstown and then summer back by the beach. And then we ended up moving to Queenstown for ski racing, which kind of sounds really bizarre to say now because neither of my brother or I actually ski anymore. Well, ski race. We don't ski race anymore. So yeah, we both went into the biking kind of route, I guess. But yeah, I guess the skiing, I was on skis when I was like 2. So I guess for the usual mountain biker, they would have been on like a mountain bike at 2. But yeah, I was on skis at 2. Introduced to bikes, but like not downhill. Nothing crazy like that. And then, yeah, a lot of my mates at school during high school, and the high school was like literally right on the bike park. They'd all bring their bikes to school and they always just be like, you should come give it a go. And that was it. That's how I got into it. Just one day was like, okay, I'll go. I'll join you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we have a need for speed, it sounds like, in your family. We like to go downhill quickly.
You could say that, yeah. Very much so. I think it's a very, I like the speed, you could say, yeah.
Why do you think you like speed? Like, where did that come from?
That's hard. It's hard to say. I don't know. It's just like that whole like adrenaline rush of there's something like thrilling and it's scary, but it's good scary. But yeah, I like going fast, and it's that weird concept of like you're obviously risking so much to go fast, but at the same time, like I guess the reward that comes out of it can be so great, and then obviously sometimes it can be not so great. So it's that. that whole
Yeah.
risk and reward thing. But yeah.
Yeah, the risk and reward thing is something that obviously like almost every sport has, but it's one of the reasons I love talking
Hmm.
to action and Olympic sport athletes is because the risk and reward is typically much higher than, a lot of your sort of mainstream sports of dang, if I miss this shot, the odds of breaking your collarbone are pretty small. But in mountain biking, if you miss your line, the odds of breaking your collarbone are pretty freaking
Pretty high.
high. And so
Yeah, yeah.
you unfortunately have been through the hard side of the risk, not the reward, but the recovery that is needed. So I
Hmm.
talked a little bit about the fact that you made some history, very first female entrant into Red Bull Hardline. For people who don't know what that competition is, can you break it down for us?
I would basically say it is the hardest downhill race in the world to compete in. So like you've got these top athletes trying to get down this ridiculously gnarly course, and I think the guys like for a fact already. Can I swear on this?
Yeah,
Or no?
absolutely. Please do. It's much more entertaining.
I was gonna say I know for a fact some of the boys are definitely shitting themselves. So yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. But yeah, it's a gnarly event. It's one of the scariest, hardest, biggest. Like I say, biggest. Just like all the features on it are gnarly and just huge. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the fact that you were the very first female entrant because Red Bull Hardline has been along for a while. It's kind of like if you're thinking in terms of other sports, it's almost like a specialty event, right? So it's one of those things where you have to get
Yeah.
invited. If you're a fan of surfing, think of it like the Eddie, where the Eddie ICAO, the Big Wave Invitational, is something where you have to get invited because of what the ICAO family and surfers and basically because of how the ICAO family has seen you show up in Waimea
Mm-hmm.
surfing big waves around the world. And they say, oh, you're good enough. You're going to hang well enough in this competition. We want you to be invited. So it's not a competition that you really qualify for. It's one that somebody picks you out of and says, you have the talent,
Mm-hmm.
you have the ability to go out and dominate this course or just survive this course. And you were the very first female entrant into it. What was your reaction when you got that invite?
Well, originally the way it kind of panned out was I went and did like a bit of a scout earlier on, and I was like, I'm actually quite interested in going. I think they'd had talks with like girls in the past, being like, does anyone kind of want to hit it? And they were like, no. And so I think, I saw it and I was like, I think I would like to give it a crack. And then obviously it ended up becoming an actual official thing and away I went. But on that, we've now actually seen the first ever girl do a complete full race run. So that's
We love that.
exactly.
But we're gonna
And
get
that's what we
to
wanted to see.
yes, we're gonna get to the why that wasn't you
Mm-hmm.
because you were there in 2022. And just for more context, when did you start downhill mountain biking? Like when did you start really properly going after it?
2000 and it depends. My first World Cup season was 2021, but the first like kind of racing year was 2019. But then I only stepped on a downhill bike in 2018, so it's yeah.
Okay. So 3 years after we switched from downhill skiing to downhill mountain biking, we're earning invitations to some of the most iconic, important mountain biking competitions in the
Mm-hmm.
entire world. Let's go back to Hardline in 2022. You get the invite, you're so stoked. You're going to potentially be the first female, definitely the first female entrant. And then the course break down the biggest features. Like when you say they have the biggest features, like what are we talking about here?
They've got two 90-foot jumps in a row.
Cool.
And then I guess I guess the rest of them like it ranges anywhere from like 40 to 90. So yeah, maybe the
Oh
smallest is
my
like
gosh.
30,
Okay.
but it's still something ridiculous. So yeah, yeah, but
There's no easy
yeah,
section of this course, is what you're telling me.
no, pretty much. There's
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call. I can't actually even think of a spot where you can chill on the course and be like, "Ooh, I've got a break." Yeah, yeah.
Everything is just one after the other after the other. So you're doing the practice runs leading up to the event. You're getting familiar with different elements of the course. And correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, you can kind of hit the course in a few different ways, right? There's a few varied lines. Like there's elements that you have to hit along the way, but there's a little variation. So you're kind of getting familiar with like what you want to do, where you want to do it, what element you want to hit and how. And then, so you're doing that, and then take us through the reason that you became a female entrant and not a female participant.
Yeah. So basically, you can start. Well, that year, everyone started kind of from like the bottom of the track, and then yeah, you don't have to do it like in one go. You can pick like certain features that you want to hit first, or maybe leave something till the end. And so I guess I kind of picked a few of the ones that I originally looked at and were like, I think I would be most comfortable on these ones. And then there wasn't really any part of me that year that was like putting pressure on myself that I would expect to do a full run. I think I was more like, I want to see how much I can do and then build off that. And then, yeah, just unfortunately broke my collarbone. So, yeah, that was the end of that one for that year. Yeah.
The end of that one, but very far from the end of your mountain biking story. I mean, what what did that feel like when you broke your collarbone and you realized this is the end for me?
Uh, it was, I think the break was only hard because I'd just come off a bigger injury that happened the year before. So
Mm.
for me, it was like I'm going into my like our off season injured again. That was the hardest part for me.
So you had a pretty bad injury in 2021. You have another injury in 2022, and then
Hmm.
you get all of a year off before in 2024 you have yet another injury. How were you navigating that season of your career? Because I have to imagine it felt like, my gosh, I just get healed from the last one, and then something else happens.
Yeah, it definitely it comes with the sport, but not a single one of them has been easy, and they've all had like some sort of different struggle associated with it in terms of like coming back. I went back to hardline in 23 and also yeah, kind of same approach as 22, but was a bit more confident that yeah, this is the year I'd like to do like a full run. And then I ended up actually just like going off this feature that I'd hit the year before, like did it all myself, and then followed someone off this drop, landed it perfectly, but my ankle exploded. So it was just like that. Yeah, that injury wrote off my whole like the end of my World Cup season in
Mm.
2023. So I think that one was the biggest, the hardest one to yeah to swallow.
Yeah, when injuries are obviously, I mean, any of us who compete in athletics of any kind, we know that injuries are a part of the sport.
Hmm.
But I think what always impresses me about the people who get back up after the injury is the why that they find and the reason they pick themselves back
Hmm.
up and get back on the bike or get back on the mountain or get back on the board. What were you drawing from in those seasons where you got knocked down again, to get back up?
I think for me, it was like I had a clear drive or like a goal of what I wanted to achieve within my career. So it was like, for me, I wasn't going to let something like that stop me from achieving that. And I think, yeah, I think that's where all the being able to like get through, sounds funny to say get through it, but yeah, to be able to like literally get through those injuries each time was like, yeah, I'm not going to let this isn't going to be the reason I stop.
Yeah. Was there a moment where you wondered, am I going to get back up again?
I don't think so in terms of like the actual injury itself. I think after my Mont Saint Anne one, which is the most recent one, so that's from last year, 2024, that one was definitely probably the first like injury where it was like a hard time to go through like such a huge injury again. And then trying to like pick myself up from that one that was tough. It was more of a mental battle, I think, than the rest of my other injuries had been. But I knew that I would get through. Yeah, I mean, I got through like all my rehab and that sort of stuff, as you should. But yeah.
When you say it was a mental battle, was it because of the type of injury, or was it because of the fact that it was just another injury?
I think both.
Yeah.
I think mentally it was hard because it's your brain, and like if you break a bone, they're like, oh, you've got 6 weeks in a cast or in a moon boot or in a brace. You can't do any of this and this and this until this time, and then after that you can do this. So it's like that whole, you get the time frame. So in a way you're kind of like obviously going through this healing phase of like a broken bone, going, okay, I've reached this step, like this is the next step. But for a head injury, there's no time frame. So there's definitely a lot of questioning, like, am I on the right track? Like, is everything going how it should be going? A lot of questioning, and you have to be really patient, and I'm not the most patient person. So I think that was a really hard battle for me, to be like, you can't do anything. Like I wasn't allowed to ride being told I can't ride my bike, not because of the brakes that I had, but because of my head injury, and that I literally had to wait until, I think it was like 5 months afterwards. It's like, whoa, like there's nothing I can do to like speed that up, and you might reach that point and it's still not okay. So then, yeah, I think that was why it was really hard mentally.
Yeah. I feel like as athletes, so often, we're very task oriented people. We're often the ones that are like, yes, I can have this goal and I want to achieve it. And so then it's like rehabbing an injury where, like you said, it's a break, and it's like, okay, these are the checkpoints along the list I need to hit. I can do that one thing at a time and I'll get going. But when it's your brain, we've come so far in the research, and yet, I mean, like science has come so far in the research and in understanding brain injuries better. But it's so hard for, I feel like, our lifestyles to figure out how to just let it do it on its own without having these check marks along the way and these milestones that say, yes, you're getting closer. Yes, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And yes, the recovery is going the way it needs to. There's like there's an intangibleness to a recovery from a head injury that is, at least for me, very frustrating and very hard to navigate.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, perfectly exactly how I would say it too. It's like, I think the biggest, even for me, like if I get set like a rest day in my training program, I can't sit still. So like the minute you've got these injuries, it's like you have to sit still. You have to, like, you can't do anything. And yeah, obviously not being able to be given a time frame. I think for me the most exciting thing was being able to literally go back in the gym, go for a run, and even to be told like, yeah, I can come back to France and go skiing. I was like, there's no way. So
Yeah.
it's like the small wins are like that kind of breath of fresh air of like, okay, it's going in the right direction. Yeah.
And those small wins have turned into some other wins for you, some bigger wins for you as we've entered this 2025 World Cup season. Tell me what it felt like the first time you were able to line up again and go downhill on a mountain bike.
The first World Cup race that we got to, so that was Poland. For me, it was more. It's hard to say because there was a part of me that was so anxious and nervous that I had fallen so far behind. Especially now, like the level of the women's field is like ridiculous, and so I think just that fear of I've fallen behind while everyone else has taken or I've taken 5 steps back while everyone else has taken 5 steps forward. So yeah, there was this part of me that was like so excited to go racing again, but also so nervous and, worried and all of that sort of emotion of if I come back and I'm out the arse. Can I mentally handle that after obviously a really hard off season?
Yeah. How did you answer that question? How did you navigate that fear? Because I think that's girl, I have FOMO for everything. Like if I'm not at an event, if I'm not covering an event, if I'm not doing X, Y, and Z, then I'm sitting there watching it going, dang, am I falling behind? Like, is someone else going to get a job that I really want that because I'm not there? Like, am I not doing enough? Am I not, am I missing it? Is this it for me? And I have so many things that I still want to do, but there's this fear that when you have to take a step back, that you're not going to be able to make up that ground. How'd you navigate that fear?
The first thing I kind of got recommended to do was to start speaking to a sports psychologist or a mental skills coach. So I now work with a mental skills coach and he's been great for me. So I think a lot of that has come from, I think I handled that first race so much better than I ever would have handled one thanks to a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because I've always been the person to be like, no, I'm fine, by myself. I don't need the, that extra someone else saying something. But, yeah, I think I can hands down say part of that work that we did helped a lot going into that race. And, yeah, I think obviously once you start going and you do the first practice day and everything kind of starts to feel normal again, or it all clicks and it's just that nice feeling of I'm back. We're back here. Yeah.
What are some of the tools? Share with us some of the sports psych tools that we can incorporate into our own arsenal when we're afraid that we're falling behind, or afraid we're not going to be as good as we once were, or afraid that we're not going to keep up with the competition. What are some of the things that you've learned to either say to yourself or ways to prepare to kind of quiet those voices?
I think the biggest thing that I've been really good at reminding myself is to stay in the present rather than thinking about the future. that was kind of the key thing we worked on was, so, yeah.
It's so funny how so many of the right, because how many times have we heard in our life, stay present, stay present, stay present. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that is a tale as old as time, right? Like that is
Mm-hmm.
that is not the first time that you've been told that advice. And yet for some reason, in the right moment, it just hits in a way that you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, that's
You're
exactly what
right.
I need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Which, you're very, you're very right there, because for sure I've had people tell me other things along those lines, and I'm like, yeah. But, yeah. In the right time, it definitely clicks and it
Yeah.
works. So, yeah.
So now we're in 2025. You've made your comeback to mountain biking. Turns out you're not 5 steps behind while everyone else is 5 steps ahead. So we can quiet those fears, we can quiet those voices. Where can we root you on next? Where can we continue to watch the comeback of Jess Blewitt?
The next, so we've actually just had a little bit of well, currently we're still in it. We've got a little summer break, I would call it. And then we are racing, I can almost call it my second home race. The next World Cup is in Leger, which is literally, I can jump on a bike and it's a 20-minute pedal away. So, yeah, we're there. And then, still got 4 more World Cup races and then World Champs as well. So, yeah, that's the rest of the season for me.
Nice. Okay, so and I want to talk a little bit about the specialty events, Rampage,
Mm-hmm.
Hardline, Formation. You've been a part of the mountain biking community for at least the last 6 years. So many of these events that I just listed and more have started incorporating a women's division, have started inviting more women to
Mm-hmm.
compete in these events. How much have you seen this sport grow just in the last 6 years that you've been a part of it?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. When I started, there was maybe 3 girls, and I think, like, just even on like a local kind of, riders within New Zealand, like the women's side, or like the female side in New Zealand, has grown crazily. And so now we've also then seen, obviously, this step with, women at Rampage, women at Hardline. We've got slope style events for the women now. Like, it's all just kind of happened within the last couple years, but I mean, it's been coming for a long time. So, yeah, it was only a matter of time, really, before we did see this.
And we talk about it in so many sports and in so many situations. And obviously, right now, women's sports is having a moment. Well, it's not having a moment. It's creating a movement of realizing the
Mm-hmm.
value, the business, the opportunity in women's sports. How have you felt that wave impacting mountain biking?
I think that's why we see, like, I think the whole movement of all of these events is what's really drawn in a lot of these younger girls. But then for sure, also just, you know, the growth of seeing that this person can do that. They're like, okay, so why can't I also do that? So it's kind of just like that rolling flow of, yeah, I don't know what the word is here, but yeah, it's like that
It's almost
rollover
like
of,
a
if
like
this
a
person can
snowball
do
that
that,
starts, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Trying to think more
It's like a
comment on that
snowball
one.
that starts really small at the top of the hill.
hmm
And then as it rolls, it's just like
Just
picking up
gets bigger.
people along the way, picking up
hmm
opportunities along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I feel
yeah.
like it's so cool to see that coming to fruition in the WNBA and the NWSL with these Olympic sports that just went off in Paris last year.
hmm
And hopefully we'll see more of in Italy. But the in between here is where the mountain biking and you guys don't stop just because it's not an Olympic year. And so it's
hmm
so incredible to see the females, like the women of mountain biking, continue to raise the level year in and year out. And I think that I know it's so hard to talk about the injuries, but seeing you get back up over and over and over again, I don't think you can understand how big of an impact that has on somebody who's in the middle of it, because somebody's in the middle of it and they're going, I don't know if I can do this. And then
Mm.
they see you come back from broken T1 trans process, a T12 break, a concussion, a collarbone, whatever it is. And they say, well, wait a minute. If she can do that, I can do that, right? Because it's not
Mm-hmm.
just about competing. It's
Yeah.
about when things go wrong, who else has been through this
Mm-hmm.
to just give myself an iota of proof
Yeah.
that it's possible.
Yeah. Even though it seems terrifying in the moment, but yeah. And not very nice, but
No, no, it's
yeah.
really not very
There's
nice.
always a way. That's
I
not
know.
nice. But yeah. There's always a
What would
way.
you Yeah, so I was going to ask, what would you say to somebody who's in the thick of the injuries, who's wondering, am I going to get back up? Do I have it in me? Why should I do it? What
Mm.
would you say to them as somebody who's been in that deep part of an injury?
I think for one, it's hard to say, like, of course it's personal. I don't feel like preference is the right word, but it's definitely like personal choice. Like if you have this injury and for you it's like, I can't do that again, that's totally fine. And I think like being okay with that is also fine. But then if there's part of you that deep down is like, this isn't gonna stop me, I've got these goals that I want to achieve, like 100% you can still do it. Like can easily, I say easily, but you can definitely pick yourself back up and come out the other side better. And I feel like for me, I almost grew into like a better person and I knew so much more about my body and just all these things that loop together to create a better outcome for me have come after these injuries. So yeah, it's been like a little bit of a learning curve as much as it's sucked. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we really saw that in the film that you have coming out. I got a chance to screen it. Your film coming out with Mophie that really walks people through what you went through and what it took to get back up and do it again. What is the thing that you want people to walk away from that film knowing?
I think knowing that obviously it's not none of it's easy. And the sport is, yeah, it's tough, but it has these great outcomes that also come out of it. And I think that, yeah, we can come out the other side of injuries like this. But yeah, I feel like for that one though in particular, it's like obviously the brain is such a important thing. So I think the biggest thing more for me is like people need to take a brain injury more seriously. And I think that hasn't really become a thing until recently. I know for sure in like mountain biking that's only really become a thing recently. But I knew about this obviously way back when I was ski racing and we already had like protocols for head knocks back then. But yeah, I just think, yeah, they're no joke, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I cannot wait for everybody to watch the film because I walked away from it knowing for certain that no matter what I was going through, I was going to be able to get back up because you were so vulnerable in showing how hard it is, but also how worth it is to get back up. And whether that get back up
Mm-hmm.
means you go back to what hurt you in the first place, right, in a sport, or if getting back up means choosing something else. I think that for me is
Yeah.
what like stuck with me was that it's not really about the fall, and it's not even about really where you go once you get back up. It's about the proof that you can do it, and you showed us that, and I'm really, really
Yeah.
grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you.
yeah. All right, we're going to switch gears now. This is our Something to Sip On. It is brought to you by the Sports Bra. Sports Bra is the very first women's sports bar in the world, as far as we know of, in Portland, Oregon. And so this is where we have a cocktail or mocktail that is called the Jess. And I want to know, what are we sipping on?
What are we sipping on?
What are we sipping on? Post race day, post practice. What's our celebratory sip?
My friends will know that I like an Aperol Spritz, so can it be an alcoholic drink?
Absolutely. Cocktail, mocktail, girl, whatever you want.
Yeah, I think...
I love an Aperol Spritz. It's a good one.
Yeah. An Aperol would be the post-celebratory drink. Yeah, I think.
I love it. I love it. All right, we're gonna have an Aperol Spritz in honor of you and your recovery and rooting you on the rest of the season. Again, our next segment is called the Powered Up segment. This one is brought to you by Mophie, and this is where I ask you a few semi off the cuff questions about what keeps you powered up for your sport. So the first question I have for you, Jess, is what is the thing that you do at the top of a race course? It can be checking equipment, it can be checking the course one more time, but what is the one thing that you do at the top of every course before you go down?
Well, we do a warm-up. Yeah. Like a warm-up before my race run.
I like it.
I think is, yeah.
Yeah, or like, is there like a tradition at the top? A warm-up?
Not really.
I like it.
Yeah, not really a tradition, but like before, like race run, quali, practice, everyone does a warm-up, and that's kind of, I guess, how you, get ready to drop in. Yeah.
I like it. What is the one aspect of your sport that if you could explain mountain biking to people, downhill competitive mountain biking to people, what is the one thing that they need to know about what you do and what it takes to be the best?
I think a lot of people underestimate how much time you still need to put into training. I think from the outside, people are like, you're just going downhill really fast like that. It must be so easy. But it's not. And I think it's hard, obviously, both mentally and physically. So, there's a lot of work that goes into, obviously, being able to perform well and do well in downhill. So,
you mean it's not just like riding a bike?
I mean, yes and no. But I mean,
I feel like it would be the worst thing for a sport. You're like, no, it's not just like riding a bike, because that's everyone's go-to of like, oh, it'll come back to you. It's just like riding a bike.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like so different.
We should be good at it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then the last question is, one of my favorite things about mountain bike courses is all the different names for the elements that you guys tackle. What is the name of one element on one course that will always stick with you? Where is it, and what is that element?
Are we talking the name of like a feature or just something specific? Okay. I can't say that I've paid much attention to the names of. I can't. I don't think.
Or we could do an element.
The names of them. I think. Can it just be a track in general?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna say Val di Sole, Italy. Everyone speaks about that track. Soul? No, Val di Sole.
What? Oh, I was like, hold on. Who's naming a course without a soul? Oh my gosh. Although now maybe that's what we call it.
Maybe that's what
Where is Val di Sole?
In Italy. Yeah.
Okay.
But it is one of like the gnarliest, so toughest.
What makes it one of the gnarliest?
Actually, hang on, before that question, they call it the black snake. So it does have a bit of a name.
They call a course in Italy
it the black snake because it's rooty, rough, massive holes, rocky, just gnarly. Yes, and when it rains, it is terrifying.
Oh my gosh, it sounds terrifying. Period. Any weather sounds terrifying. Mm-hmm. And then the last question I have for you, my dear, is it's been so great to have you on the PowHERful Podcast. I want to know, what does PowHERful mean to you? When do you feel powerful?
Ooh. I think when I achieve something. So like whether that was me coming back from these injuries, that's a powerful me.
Yeah. I like that. The moment that you've realized you've done it, the thing you've been working at, thing you've been working towards.
Exactly.
You made it. That's awesome. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us on the PowHERful Podcast. I cannot wait to root you on in the rest of the World Cup season. Hopefully catch up with you at one of these cool specialty events. And definitely, everybody, check out her film. It's coming out with Mophie. It is one of those ones that just is like the reason we love sports is because of the vulnerability, the tenacity, and the way that you get back up and bring us into it. So thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your bravery. And I can't wait to root you on everywhere you go.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's been great speaking on the podcast.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much for being here. PowHERful Podcast will be back next week. Thanks so much for being here. This is a reminder to check us out every Tuesday, everywhere you get your podcasts. And if you really enjoy this and don't want to miss an episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button.